The interesting thing about serotonin is that 90% of our serotonin is produced in our gut, not our brain. About maybe 10% is only produced in our brain, in the nuclei of the brain stem. I absolutely believe that the food that we eat has a direct impact on our mood, our happiness. A lot of people say you are what you eat. We've heard that many, many times over, but I always say that you think how you eat. If our diet is consisted of highly refined processed foods, additives, chemicals, dyes, it's going to be much harder for the body to break those things down. The human body was never designed to do that. So your brain function, your emotional well-being is ultimately going to suffer. And if we're consuming those types of foods, that means that our diet is missing all the vitamins and the nutrients that we need to produce neurochemicals, neurotransmitters. There is a direct correlation between our diet and the neurotransmitters serotonin and dopamine. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that is a hormone. It's our happy hormone. And so serotonin is responsible for feelings of happiness, contentment, overall emotional well-being. Dopamine is another neurotransmitter that is responsible for our reward center in our brain. And so the foods that we eat directly affect the production of these two neurotransmitters. One way is that if our diet is consistent of foods that are plentiful in vitamins like vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, B vitamins like B6, B12, folate, they are going to help produce the neurotransmitters. So production of serotonin and dopamine is going to happen pretty easily. But likewise, if our diet omits those vitamins and we are in a deficient state, then it's going to be much harder to produce those neurotransmitters. The interesting thing about serotonin is that 90% of our serotonin is produced in our gut, not our brain. About maybe 10% is only produced in our brain, in the nuclei of the brain stem. That means that, the foods that we are eating and we're digesting can be very supportive in developing more serotonin. If you want to improve your mental health through diet, but you don't know where to start, I'm going to give you 4 things that you can do. One is you can get more variety in your diet. How many of us go to the grocery store every single week and we're buying the same foods? What we need to do is try to diversify our diet. So the more color that you can get on your plate, think about making the color of the rainbow, thinking about buying foods that are different, vibrant colors. Those are going to give you the most diversity, bringing in a variety of nutrients and minerals. The second thing you can do is thinking about getting 30 different plants a week. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but if we break that down over a 7-day period, we're roughly at 4 different plants a week. Now, what constitutes a plant? We have whole grains, we have herbs, we have spices, we have vegetables, we have fruits. So we have a lot of different types of categories that we can pull from. And what that does is it gets us our pre and probiotic fibers. It gets us all of the dietary fiber that we need to support our gut health. And if we're doing that, we are going to create a diverse microbiome. Number 3 is aiming to get more fermented foods in the diet. Again, this is going to really help your gut microbiome. Fermented foods like Greek yogurt, your fermented sauerkraut, your miso, all of those things are going to really be gut supportive. Number 4 is really focus on your individual nutrition. Personalized nutrition is where it's at. You are going to grow the most when you can figure out exactly what your body needs. It's the number 1 reason why we do so much gut testing in our practice, is because there is nothing that is actually going to replace your individualized plan of care when it comes to understanding what type of bugs actually exist in your body.